Hello, friends, and welcome to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Last time we came to the Novice Nobilite Station, discovered that the child, or Cassia, was being assaulted by a man that she once trusted. We killed him and the men that were working with him. We have rescued Cassia, and she has agreed to become navigator for our ship. So we got that out of the way. As we were leaving, we leveled up. So let's go ahead and deal with that now. Let's see. For my character, we will start with Blood Oath. This ability costs 8 wounds to use. The Blade Dancer targets a single enemy, vowing to dispatch their mark. The Blade Dancer's next attack against their enemy cannot be dodged or parried. If this attack kills the target, the Blade Dancer regains 13 wounds and gains 1 attack point, along with an additional attack this turn. This ability can be used multiple times per turn, but it grants 1 attack point and an additional attack only once per round. So there's some healing, and there is additional attacks. Our second choice will be another point into Medicae, so raising that Medicae skill. And let's go to Abelard. Abelard at level 6, we will start with Taunting Scream. The warrior unleashes a terrifying scream, drawing the attention of the enemy and becoming a priority target for any enemy who fails a willpower resistance test for 3 rounds. For our second ability, we are choosing Athletics. So we did weapon skill first, and we're doing Athletics this time. Now for Adira. Level 6, first skill, we will choose Tide of Excellence. This allows us to trigger an exploit on an enemy, gain +1 damage and 2% armor penetration until the end of combat. So put exploits on enemies just as soon as combat begins. So that is going to help us against everyone on the field. And for our characteristic, we will take Ballistic Skill again. For Argenta, level 6, we will start with Ballistic Skill, keeping the gun activity rolling for Argenta. For our second ability, we will do Rapid Fire. The soldier's next ranged burst attack will have its base rate of fire doubled but deal less damage. So we'll get more shots for less damage per shot. But hopefully we will end up landing more and getting more damage out of it. That is good for her. And now we get to go to Cassia. So we will start with level 5 with Cassia. Cassia wants willpower, and then she will take Mastery of Time. Whenever an ally in combat gains an extra turn, the navigator gains a stacking +5 bonus to willpower until the end of combat. She will be able to grant extra turns later on, and so that is going to be very nice for her. For level 6, we are going to choose Decisive Response as our first ability. Whenever the officer uses Voice of Command or Bring It Down for the first time in combat, this ability costs 1 AP less. And then in addition to that, we will take Willpower, and that will help all of her stuff be stronger. So everything that she does, and we have got Cassia all finished up as well. Okay, I think we are all situated. Let's head back to the ship. And looks like there were a couple of items we were leaving behind. We'll go ahead and grab those. And yes. Lord Captain, Lady Navigator, welcome aboard. The Sanctum Navis has been prepared for the communion ritual, but if the Lady Navigator wishes to rest in her quarters first... Your heart starts beating furiously, your breaths come short and choppy, and your fingertips tingle unpleasantly. You notice that Vigdis is shivering slightly, and the crew are glancing around in puzzlement, searching for the source of this sudden wave of unease. Without even looking at the Voxmaster, Cassia waves her away. First, I wish to speak with the rogue trader. Leave us. Of course. When you are ready for the ritual, please let me know. Cassia sweeps her pensive gaze over Vigdis, then, lowering her lashes slightly, turns to you. What do you wish to speak about? Before I begin the ritual, I wish to look once again into the eyes of the man whose fame is so great it managed to penetrate the impregnable walls of Urak 5 long before we ever met. It truly is you, Gladius, the person the whole Expanse and Calixus sector are talking about. And now, a rogue trader as well. After a few seconds' hesitation, Cassia lets out a small exhale and then raises her pointed chin. I have not yet thanked you for saving me on the station. My thoughts were clouded with so much mournful ash when Theobald's heart stopped, but you acted honorably and did not exploit me in my wretched position, and for that I am immeasurably grateful. I am also deeply grateful that you saved my servants, especially my valet. Uwe served on the station for more than 5 years, much longer than any who preceded him. He knows how to properly attend me during journeys through the Immaterium, and what to serve me for breakfast. His presence envelops me in a cloak of amber. But now, Cassia throws back her shoulders, I am ready to go to the Sanctum Novus and perform the sacred rite. I require brushes, canvas, and the best paints you have on board, but no red, please. Why do you refuse red paint? Cassia gestures toward the servant standing beside her. Uwe will give of his blood before the ritual, as always. I shall ensure that all the necessary supplies are delivered to the Sanctum Novus. Cassia nods in thanks. I shall take my leave of you for the duration of the rite. I ask that you do not follow me. Few can survive the gaze of my warp eye when it is opened. Lord Captain, I will oversee the open channel between the Lady Navigator and the bridge, and may the Emperor's light help us all. The Voxcaster in the Sanctum Novus picks up the susurration of clothes, pious chanting, and the metallic clicking of implants. Then the serene voice of the Lady Navigator breaks the silence. Initiating communion ritual! Come here, Uwe. The exultant ring of metal freed from its scabbard, the low sob of the servant, the rhythmic drip of liquid on canvas, the faint whisper of the brush. Go. Footsteps hurrying away. I see violet vortexes lashing an ocean with 1,000,000 flails, and umber shadows spinning over the surface in a fiery dance, a storm rising above foaming waters, armadas drowning in fog. The path from one end to another cannot be seen. And here, beyond the wall of glass, a daughter forsaken by her father yearns for her brother, and the sun's pale disk goes in tireless pursuit. Of her? No, of me. Its frozen rays lie that spring is here, but the light is deadened. The great ruler is gone! The Voxmaster recoils at Cassia's words and accidentally snaps one of the cogitator levers. The panel beneath her fingers emits sparks, and the Voxcaster falls silent. She quickly flips a series of switches and bows guiltily. My abject apologies for cutting off the broadcast, Lord Captain. I have never heard the warp speaking through a navigator before. The connection is restored now. It will not happen again. Continue the ritual. That is an order. Soul-shredding screams drown out the Vox transmission. The servants in the sanctum novis are howling and shrieking like wild beasts, moaning in pain, their throats raw from the strain. And then, sudden silence. The dull thud of dropping bodies proclaims their fate. It appears the servants were part of the Lady Navigator's rite, as it was for her predecessor. I will arrange for the bodies to be removed from the sanctum novis after the ritual, or what is left of them. Rogue trader, I fear I have unfortunate news. Endless blackness has spread across the canvas, dividing what should be whole in two, and my sight cannot glimpse the light of the Emperor as clearly as before. I cannot turn around. My brush only draws me onward. The way is blocked. You hear a heavy exhale, rustling fabric, and a metallic clicking. By the Emperor's grace, the ritual was successful. Your vessel's temperament presented a challenge. Its cold steel grip did not allow me to breathe freely even for a moment. It was as if the depths of the ship housed not only machine spirits, but something other. Now I will retreat to my chambers to recover my strength. Send for me, if you have need. Lord Captain, congratulations on acquiring a navigator. Please spare me a few moments of your time, as there are several matters that require your attention. First of all, I wish to report on the condition of the station, Yorak 5. Had you opted to begin your visit to the Rykad system with a different destination, the station could have become critically unstable. Fortunately, the decision to immediately visit the representatives of the Novice Nobilite bought us precious time. We can either focus our efforts on disassembling the station and procuring technological components for our own vessel, or attempt to save as many valuables as we can. Gather any components that may be of use on the ship. As you command, Lord Captain. With your permission, I would also like to remind you that we are still looking for an engine seer prime. Both the vessel and its machine spirits are in desperate need of oversight by an experienced tech priest. We are also missing some crew, and much more importantly, we have not yet located Heinrich von Kollux, the right hand of the Lord Inquisitor. Now we know for certain he was not at Yorak 5, so we should keep this in mind when making any future plans. Thank you, Victus. This will be all for now. As it pleases you, Lord Captain. We have kind of gone through a whole series of situations there, but there are now, we need to go to the prison planetoid. We have this unidentified void ship down here. Rykad Minoris is here. We have the astropathic station here. My people seemed very interested in that, so let's go this way. We'll just continue on around, I suppose, make our way through. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck.
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
The Lady Navigator had been engrossed in perusing the dusty tomes, which appeared to have been neglected by the other officers, be it because of sloth or dullness of mind. When you walked closer, Cassia looked up at you, started, and hid a weathered book behind her back. It pleases me to see you adjusting to life aboard the ship.
Compared to Yorak 5, your ship is a boundless world of unfamiliar hues. And yet, the abundance of bright colors can at times be wearisome on the eyes. The bridge and the decks are so clamorous. In my search for a place of quiet, I was fortunate to come upon this islet of serenity filled with rare tomes and practically devoid of color.
Point at the book in Cassia's hands. I see you are fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, It has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing.
Cassia carefully shows you the book, which turned out to be a collection of works by the Cadian naval commander and poet Aelius Quint.
Urak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Cassia gently brushes the dust from the cover with her thin, clawed hand, her eyes filled with longing after reminiscing about her lost home. The events that took place on Urak 5 must have shaken you greatly, my lady. Are you well?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Your only attendant is your valet from Urak 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards?
No, no, it is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes the topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising, then, that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks. I hope that you have had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior in your question just now insulting. Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying. You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I. I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
Frightened by her own words, Cassia covered her mouth, paled, blushed, paled again, and hid her face behind the cascade of her snow-white hair. You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and it is just as natural to share them with others.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
She places a hand on her breastplate.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls, and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but... My delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
I understand what you are going through. My own life was turned upside down not too long ago.
Indeed. I did not know. That is to say, I could not have known, as it is the first time we are speaking in a circumstance so... private. My word, when I found this place, it was so full of officers. Why did they all leave?
Perhaps my people did not wish to disturb you.
Or because my presence offends them. Then I must take my leave as well. I am due to inspect the Sanctum Navis after the communion ritual and prepare the chamber for the upcoming warp jump. Thank you for your company.
Okay. Well, we had a chance to meet our new navigator a little bit there, and we have been dropped in the ship in a different location than the bridge. So let's see if there's anything for us to discover. This is a room we were in before when there were enemies on ship. It has been cleaned up. It looks like nothing more of interest in here. All of these doors we've already been in, so I'm assuming I don't have the chance to do it a second time. Okay, so let's head out. I want to say there may be some interesting things in here. Perhaps. We've already looked at that. Ooh, I think some of these things we were not able to look at before. The positions of the pieces on the board suggest that this game of regicide was interrupted. The winner was never determined. The glinting of the displayed weapons is mesmerizing. You have never seen many of these articles before. Hopefully someone cleared the dead bodies out of my room. Let's have a look-see. Yes, they're missing now. Wonderful. The ticking of the chronos seems too quiet for its bulky size. The light glinting off the polished skull of some unknown Xenos makes it seem like the bony face is mocking you. Well, how rude. Hey, we got goods. Wrath of St. Drusus. One-handed melee weapon chainsword. That is going to be an upgrade for our good buddy Abelard. Does not have an area attack. Oh, you can't cleave with that. Increases damage from all sources against any hit targets by 15% till the end of combat. Nope, I think this is an Abelard weapon. I like that a lot. I don't know, that might be a me weapon. Heirloom auto pistol. Interesting, not amazing. Blast wave. Is that a shotgun I see before me? Its handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. We shall be checking that out for certain, sure. Link my account. Well, we won't be doing that on screen, but we might check that out later. The bookshelves are packed with ancient books, piles of papers and tomes, many of which look rather worn. So the previous Lord Captain did some reading, I take it? Oh, we have a vault that we already looted, apparently. I don't know what this is, so we will click it, but it's got the owlcat symbol there, so I'm assuming it's not really going to be very game direct either. Okay. A list of names. I don't know. I don't know if this game was crowdfunded or not. I know that Pathfinder Kingmaker was crowdfunded, and Wrath of the Righteous was crowdfunded. I do not know if this game was, but if it was, I bet these names are members of the people who did that. So wonderful. And thank you to all of them, because I really enjoy this game. So I appreciate the opportunity to play it. A parlor organ with ivory keys yellowed by long service. Yes, we saw that already. We have an attendant near the bath, master of ablutions. Interesting. We will talk to him in a moment, but first, to the bedroom. To the quarters. Ooh, goods. Cracked data slate. The final transactions with the Chartist are complete. The fiery reckoning is now fully equipped. Assuming. The object has been loaded aboard with its containment intact and placed in the forebay to ensure maximum contact. Coordinates sent and received. Target estimate time of arrival. Fiery reckoning is crewed by a servitor. Chances of the ship returning are minimal. What is this? Okay. I don't know what that's about, but maybe interesting. We do not need to change our appearance. We are a handsome devil, and we will stick with. His chagrin is irrelevant. Voigtvir's mistake cost me too much. Years of work, tremendous resources, all wasted. He has failed at what he was supposed to be irreproachable at, uncovering spies, and this one a senior officer. I'm not about to discard him. Coonrad has served me for too long for his removal to go painlessly for the Protectorate. Besides, he is no fool. He could not have seriously expected to become the next in the von Valancius line when his skills and talents as Master of Whispers are so valuable. Let his disinheritance serve as a humiliating but instructive lesson from which he may yet learn. And now we know why Coonrad Voigtvir was not a member of the line of inheritance, and probably why he chose to betray the previous Lord Captain. She cut him out. Okay. Wrath of St. Drusus. Hook me up. And we will then offhand the Mars pattern, which does let us cleave, so we will still be cleaving. Fantastico. And what are we doing here, Abby? Abelard, this is a 2-point per hit improvement. Parry is the same. Weapon skill reduction is the same. It has strike and cleave, but it does not deal additional critical damage. So I think we are going to let it roll for now. Let's check out our shoddy here. Same damage and armor pen. Rate of fire is the same. Range is the same. Max ammo is the same. They both have rending shots. Shots from this shotgun push targets 3 cells away, even if the shot misses. Oh ho ho. Okay. Well, we will be making that adjustment. Lovely. And I think that's got us covered. We didn't get anything else of any particular interest. So, oh wait. We need to check out Lady Cassia here. See if we have anything to help her out. She can wear medium armor. Wonderful. She has the Staff of House Orcelio, which is what we picked up here, I think. Yep, we already had one of those, so cool. She gets the castigating. Looks like she can use an auto pistol. Is the one the heirloom auto pistol better? It is better. Improved perception and ballistic skill. Nice. Definitely an upgrade. Oh, right. Yeah, we don't want to change that out. We don't want to change that out. Okay, well, we will definitely give it to her then. Wonderful. Okay, I think we're good. Nothing else. Let's go talk to our Master of Ablutions. Whatever that means. I think it means he's the bath man. Would you like to take a bath, your lordship? I would. I will perform my ablutions. The soothing water caresses your senses, and your grateful muscles welcome the chance to rest. A pleasant languor spreads through your body as you allow yourself a moment of quiet relaxation. So I can bring in people to talk to me. I can have my guards bathe with me. I can relax and I can finish. Let's try this, see if we get, I don't know, maybe a vision or something. Maybe our visitor in our brain will talk to us. The tension slowly retreats as you bring yourself to complete stillness, joint by joint, muscle by muscle, pore by pore. Before long, you have surrendered the bastion of your body to the bliss of oblivion. Troubles, worries, loss, such things do not belong in this newly established dominion of tranquility. There are only the infinite waters of weightlessness, in which, stripped of all things superficial, the mind of Gladius von Valancius drifts in silent bliss. It is a conscious mind. What fills this consciousness? We'll stick with iconoclast for now. Thoughts of those who keep him afloat in these waters. Who will drown, and who will he manage to pull to the surface? The strands of fate are fragile, yet woven together, they are strong. Not everyone is destined to see this voyage through to its end, but no one will be forgotten. And we get +3 iconoclast. This moment of serenity soon fades. The body reclaims the mind, binding it once more to the familiar shell of flesh, sinew, and bone. We don't need to bring anyone in, so let's finish our ablution. You feel revitalized. This was truly an experience worthy of a rogue trader. Cool. Well, that is interesting, but let's get back to the bridge and all of the interesting things going on there. Okay. So we were going to the astropathic station. I do want to finish doing that, but I've changed my mind. Instead of immediately going to Rykad Minoris, Vigdis mentioned the most important thing is finding Heinrichs von Calix. And where would a be more likely location for an Inquisitor, if not a prison planet? So we will go there next, but we'll do the astropathic station first since we are already almost there. Permission to report, Lord Captain. Members of a sacred cult operating aboard this ship have requested an audience. They wish to present gifts and introduce themselves to their new captain. Sacred cult? They call themselves the Bloodspun Web. The cult defends the flagship from both internal and external threats. Lady Theodora held them in high regard and looked favorably upon their activities. Okay, I am ready to receive them. I will commence preparations at once, Lord Captain. Those on the deck watch in awe as the final figure moves gracefully into a ceremonial pose. Some of the officers whisper in excitement, while others murmur prayers to the God Emperor.
The Undying Emperor commanded us to spin a web of blood around his children, and we obeyed. We obey still.
A tall young woman stepped forward. She moved toward you soundlessly, the dim light casting shadows across the mask which concealed her face. The masked cultists repeat the words she spoke in a mournful whisper. We obey still.
Domin von Valancius, Death has whispered your name. We disown Domin Theodora. We renounce our oath to her.
The woman's slender finger has been fitted with a metal claw. She points it in your direction and gazes at you from behind her bone mask with the cold, grim eyes of an assassin. She pulls out a sinister curved blade, and similar weapons suddenly appear in the hands of her motionless companions.
And now we give the gift of our blood to you. It is the gift of death. Death has whispered your name. The followers of the tenets of the web swear fealty to their new overlord and offer proof of their devotion. We give you a blade, the silent verdict. The Undying One has chosen you to wield this instrument of death. We give you one of our own, Kibella. She will be your shield and shadow. And we give you the blood of these traitors. The tenets of the web will purify their souls.
You have heard many stories about death cults such as this one. These devoted, holy assassins of the Imperium have turned death into a form of worship of the Emperor. They are exemplary slayers, invisible executioners, and the scourge of traitors, heretics, and fallen souls. Many righteous people honor them as votaries of the faith, while others see their fearsome rituals as frenzied spectacles touched by madness. Interesting. So a death cult watches over my crew, they who honor the Emperor through killing, who devote their every deed to serving him. Sacred executioners.
The Domin has discerned our essence. This is a great honor for the blood-spun web. We have woven the bays of this ship together with the threads of our faith for many years. We keep the greatest relic, his tarot, through which he sends us his blessed revelations. We obey the whispers of the Undying One. This is our service to him. This is our service to you.
How interesting. Devout assassins who believe themselves to be instruments of a higher power. They revel in violence and cannot tell the difference between bloodthirst and piety. They follow their faith blindly, unaware of how closely they tread the corruption and depravity. Look at them. They stand on the edge of a precipice. The smallest push will send them plummeting into the abyss. You could be their downfall. All you have to do is push.
Nod toward the captives. Why have you brought this rabble to the upper decks?
So you may offer the souls of these traitors as a gift to him. You have the authority to order their execution. Their blood will bind us together through him. For the God Emperor, the Undying One is death itself. The Undying One is duty itself. Give the order, Domin. Let a spinner of the blood-spun web undergo the test of a sacred trial.
The others echo her words from beneath their bone masks. Undergo the test. I will judge the traitors myself.
Then, I will tell you of the treacherous blood that runs through their veins.
These wretched apostates were caught trying to sabotage the reactor. They are guilty of treason. I swear, we're not A woman in a tattered protective suit pushes forward in protest, but her movement is halted by the thin cord wrapped round her neck. You notice that all the captives have been similarly restrained. The woman clutches her throat as a thin line of scarlet appears between her fingers. Theft of weapons, sabotage, and the deaths of the crew in Bay AL-82. Do you have proof of these charges? Or are such claims the result of cultic revelations? There is doubt in the Infernus Master's gentle voice. With all due respect, it is difficult to discern the truth of these accusations without evidence. Divine visions and dark portents may be reason enough for you to shed blood, but not everyone here shares your perspective. Enough, Heinrich. The Lord Captain will decide the truth of these claims for himself. Cabela, is it true these things were revealed to you through visions? The practice of sacred divination using the bones and sinews of a martyr led us to the reactor room. This is true. But it is also true that I beheld the act of treachery with my own eyes. What do the accused have to say in their defense? The cords around the prisoners' necks are loosened just enough to let them speak. Have mercy! We're just technical tunnel workers. We were told to block the ventilation shaft leading into the reactor room. Fume leakage, supposedly. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong. We were just following orders. And as for why we were holding weapons, that was, well, you know... The woman scratches her cheek nervously. She's lying! An injured officer scowls angrily. They smeared blood on themselves and crawled out of the tunnel wailing, "Oh no! The ship's being attacked! There are enemies everywhere! Defend the bay!" We rushed off to investigate, and they used their cutters to break into the weapons storage at our guard station. They stole guns and headed straight for the reactor room. Bone and sinew revealed your hubris. You abandoned vigilance for the promise of glory. You did not give weapons to the traitors, but you left your post to seek a hero's path. Though you did not act with treasonous intent, you are complicit nonetheless. The officer and his subordinates are to be demoted without the right of reinstatement. What should be done with the rest of the prisoners, Lord Captain? Get this treacherous rabble out of my sight and shoot them. Mercy, Lord Captain, mercy! The Lord Captain has spoken. Take them away. I could not honor you by ushering the souls of those traitors to the other side. This troubles me, for I wish to serve you as the sword serves its master. Will you make me your shield and shadow, Domin Gladius? Your lordship, the spinners of the blood-spun web were watching, tracking, and killing Von Valancius' enemies long before the warrant of trade passed to the Lady Theodora. However, their blade has also been known to cut short the lives of highly upstanding persons. The factotum swallows nervously, casting a fleeting glance at Cabela. But I certainly do not in any way condemn the deeds of the deeply esteemed cult. I am sure they must have had good reason. A stern-looking woman clears her throat. The cultists are the scourge of the seditious. They bring the unrighteous to ruin. The enforcers respect the blood-spun web, for we share a common goal, to bring his light and his harsh justice to the darkest depths of this ship. Scourge of the seditious or not, folk are afraid of them for a reason. A couple of watches ago, these spinners took a train driver to pieces for some kind of ritual. I don't know what old Maylock did to earn that privilege, though. And who's going to feed his family now? Heinrich takes a drag on his Iho stick, exhaling the thick smoke through his clenched teeth. But that's a lower-decker problem. What matters is that the blood-spun web serves you faithfully, Lord Captain. A plump old man in the rich robes of a confessor adds respectfully, My predecessor's predecessor once delivered a sermon about how the spinners saved this vessel from the servants of the arch-enemy. The blood-spun web paid the price in blood, a river of scarlet that flooded the decks from bridge to bilge. They became the blood of the flagship, the pulse in its veins, and the beat of its heart. Their great sacrifice earned them the favor of House Von Valancius. I wish to hear what my retinue thinks. I have heard, though only at a distance, the prayers the spinners offer up to him. I have seen how their deeds fill the people's hearts with confidence in the inevitability of his wrath. The blood-spun web's loyalty to the Emperor is without question, as is their willingness to lay down their lives in the fight against the arch-enemy. Although Lady Theodora never granted the cult an audience or brought a spinner into her retinue, she respected the blood-spun web and approved of its mission. It is strange. Their shadowy forms are swathed in darkness, yet a radiant light burns within them, like scarlet flame. I think it is a good sign. It is rare to see anyone filled with such light, even among servants of the faith. You will be my shadow, Cabela. Cabela's movements are slow, almost rhythmic as she removes her ceremonial mask. The dark shadows of her eyes accentuate the deathly pallor of her skin, which is covered in ritual scars. Henceforth I am your shadow, Domin Gladius von Valancius, an instrument of death placed in your hand by the Undying One. For so it was ordained, and so his tarot forspoke. The young woman bows her head once more. I also come bearing an invitation from the Vizier of the blood-spun web. He wishes you to know that the doors to the Undying One's temple are open to you. Are you suggesting the Lord Captain should go down into the depths of his flagship to search for this temple? With all due respect, the lower decks are for his servants and crew. They are not a fitting place for his lordship. And why is your vizier not here to deliver this message himself? The first spinner is old. His abode is in the temple beneath the flagship's freight line, and he has not left the lower decks in decades. Even a short journey could sunder the spirit from his ancient body. Where is your temple located? I am not permitted to say. If you wish to find the temple, you must walk the path of Saint Ariane, the matriarch spider. Hers was the thread that would become the blood-spun web. Her path began deep within the flagship, in the dark tunnels of the freight line, and that is where yours must begin as well. This journey will bring you closer to the thread of the web, closer to the Undying One, closer to understanding death. Then I will walk in the footsteps of the matriarch spider. Your journey will begin in the darkness of the deepest tunnels. The Vizier awaits you. The cultists retreat into the shadows as Cabela sheathes her ceremonial dagger. Your blade awaits direction, Domin Gladius. We will speak again when the time is right. Okay. Well, let's continue on to where we were going. We will address any issues or complications on the ship at a different time. I don't want to do that right now. Right now, I want to get back into the map and get to this astropathic station. Good Lord. The astropathic station is dead ahead of the void ship. It is motionless. There is lifeless silence across its vox frequencies. Its lights are out. Even those who have no warp sensitivity can feel the presence of death. It is here, lurking in the shadows. All of this makes reading the reports of the ship's astropaths, who claim to be hearing an incessant ghostly howl emanating from the station, all the more disturbing. We will try to contact by Vox. The station is not responding. Perhaps there is no one left who can respond. We'll deploy a scouting team. The enforcers offered their prayers and proceeded to enter the uncanny station. What they saw inside was monstrous. Astropaths upon their thrones, not quite here, not quite now. Smudged, as it were, across time. Servants reliving their horrible deaths again and again, only to be reborn out of ashes and blood into more agony a moment later. The warp manifested itself here, twisting the very nature of existence. The main hall was covered in a crust of psychic ice. A green-robed, blind old man sat motionless upon a tall throne. He was quite literally embedded in the ice, yet he lived and screamed. We will send Zachary Wise to the station with a squad of bodyguards. Choir Master Wise boarded the station in person and proceeded to the choir's hall. He stood silently for hours in front of a man frozen in ice and held a telepathic conversation with him. Then Master Wise offered a prayer to the God Emperor, and the unfortunate man passed away. Upon returning to the ship, Wise reverently presented the Lord Captain with a grim trophy, the late choir master's amulet, taken from his frozen body after his death. If worn by a psyker, which we are, the wearer gains immunity to the horrors of the warp effect. The target suffers -5 to weapon skill, ballistic skill, willpower, strength, and -1 resolve per difficulty tier of the demon for 1 round. So if I wear this amulet when a demon is summoned or we run into one, the natural fear that we would have for it is removed from me. So that sounds wonderful. Definitely want that. The psychic shriek carrying across the immaterium has been silenced, but this has brought the crew no relief. A chilling realization came to the astropaths when they discovered that the cry was masking a different sound, one even more terrifying and surreal. It was the melody of a cataclysm born from a warp storm of titanic power, so intense that the entire expanse must be able to hear it. It muffles astropathic messages and crawls into psychers' minds, evoking everywhere the same image: a dark, gaping, beastly mouth cleaving the universe in twain. Now that the mad choir master has finally stopped screaming, the song of the Immaterium has reached the rogue trader's void ship as well. Order the station to be explored? A brief and chilling chronicle of the station's doom was found in the scribe's records. A warp disturbance of monstrous proportions wiped out half the choir at once, turning the astropaths into living portals through which torrents of the Immaterium's energies poured forth. Those who lasted longer bellowed and howled about a black rift that had split the universe into before and after, and a darkness that would devour the Astronomican's light. Burn everything. Void torpedoes shatter the fragile station. One can only hope that the unfortunate souls captured by the warp have perished along with their home. Okay, let's head toward the prison planetoid, Racatiphilia. Oh my goodness. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Vigdis pauses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Wassarian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice, loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a high-born brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence toward a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avril Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent, and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match, Lieutenant. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is beyond unacceptable. I am sorry, Lord Captain. I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures, Vent exclaimed hotly. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is completely unwarranted. The crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sourback, who is standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Bessarion and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, and then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me? I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took over a month to restore order, but even 8 years later we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for this current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addressed the malcontents directly, he could quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you would ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. And how did all this start? The situation could boil over at any moment, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tension between enforcers and workers to a head. And how does Seneschal Bessarion factor into all of this? I shall explain, Abelard intoned grimly. I beg you to hurry. Time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention not be distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Bessarion. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more passively support them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Abelard, what do you have to say to all this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you'll stop the uprising before it even begins. Master-at-Arms, the ship's enforcers report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realize it's not within my right to challenge my superiors. Sourback bows her head in Abelard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lip. That being said, While I entirely share Master Wassarian's opinion on what fate Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced. Mistress Saurback, I see you have decided to follow the lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit. Saurback, explain yourself. The ship's regulations state that the Master-at-Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcers, and yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he has deemed particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for tutelage. I cannot deny Master Wassarian's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encourages disregard for hierarchy among your lordship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master-at-Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's order. I notice a pattern in these actions. Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear that Seneschal Wassarian has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place, he has offered me extensive guidance in my service for which I am very grateful. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sight to ensure that they continue to strive. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it, that is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point. It appears I have unearthed an old squabble. I would prefer to be left out of it. I dare not waste your time with such trivial matters, your lordship. I am certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and the Seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot 4 myself and see to the expedient resolution of this incident. Okay. Well, I think that will do it for this part. Let's go ahead and accept our way into the next section. Hopefully we can do so without a ton of conversation. We can save the game and bounce out, and then we will come back next episode, discover what exactly is happening in our own ship that we are apparently unable to escape from. Maybe we will get to the planetoid next time too. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I have had a good time, even with all the interruptions. But in the meantime, this has been Disabled. My name is Ed, and this has been Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Make your way with love and light, and thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Goodbye.